Welcome to the DL. This is the show where we talk about everything in the truck and equipment repair industry. It's my job to help inform and educate you on ways to help your business. We talk with technicians, business owners, associations, industry experts, manufacturers, and even a few you wouldn't think traditionally apply to your business. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the DL. I'm your host, Tyler Robertson, also the CEO and founder of Diesel Laptops. And as you know, if you've listened to the podcast, we kind of take this in two different ways. We talk about our industry and things going on and ways we can help people, but we also talk about the business side of this whole thing as well. And it's really important, I think, to get across to business owners and managers, different leaders. Here's some tools and some things that are out there to help your business. And I'm really excited about this one today because these guys literally saved us $40,000 and it didn't cost us that much to save us that much money. And with that, I'd really like to invite Ilan onto the show, and he's coming all the way from Israel. So our first time ever getting someone from that side of the pond. So welcome to the show, sir.
It's a pleasure being here, Tyler, and it's a pleasure finally meeting you as well.
Awesome. So with everything said, let's just talk a little bit about Clickcease. I kind of said to everyone, hey, I just saved 40 grand with these guys. And literally, you guys are too cheap. I think it cost me less than $100 to save 40 grand. We'll talk about that later when we get to pricing. But why don't you just kind of give everyone an overview of what is Clickcease?
Great. Clickcease is a tool that lets you protect your Google Ads budget. So anybody that's advertising on Google Ads and has ever had an issue with competitors that click on their ads and deplete their budget, or bots, or click farms, or any kind of erroneous traffic, any kind of invalid traffic, Clickcease detects that traffic and eliminates it. And we do that via a super simple connection to our platform, and we show you all the data. And we don't let the competitors or those bots actually see the ads.
So a lot of little things to talk about here to explain this to everybody. But first of all, how big of a problem is this? Because I know we hear from Google, don't worry about click fraud. We're going to take care of it for you guys. It's not a thing. It's not a problem. I kind of always believed that until we ran into the situation that we did where you guys helped us out. But how big of a problem is this that you guys see out when you look at the market?
So what we tell the world basically is that on average, 1 out of every 5 clicks is invalid. And it could be invalid whether if it's for malicious reasons or non-malicious reasons. The malicious reasons are the problems, such as the competitor that's trying to get you. But then again, there's a lot of traffic that isn't malicious, but it's still costing you money when it shouldn't. Whether if it's just people clicking on you over and over again, or customers of yours that are reaching your site, even though they, they don't know the difference between paid ads and just organic results, and they'll click on your ads every time, and you can stop that as well. But the real problem is bots and competitors that employ bots. And by doing so, if someone is paying $5 per click, which is in today's, totally normal, within 100 clicks, you've just spent $500. That's quite a sum. So it is pretty prevalent. It's extremely prevalent. But then again, we are the ones that are telling the entire world this is a problem, and we show you, and people can sign up and they can see what goes on with their traffic. Google doesn't share IP level data. We do. So Google doesn't tell you, okay, well, this IP clicked on you 10 times in 10 minutes, and we charged you that, or we didn't charge you, for each of those clicks. But we do show the data. It's all piled up. Everybody actually has this data in their weblogs, but nobody really knows how to get it out and start dealing with it, and then figuring out and analyzing everything. But since we do that, we're able to use our methodologies and software basically, and the brains and the algorithms. We can easily show on our dashboard what goes on and how prevalent it is, and it's extremely prevalent.
So I think it would surprise people to know how much of the internet traffic is actually bots that are just out there crawling and doing things all the time. It's a pretty high percentage, isn't it?
The majority, more than 50% of internet traffic is bot-based. It's pretty wild. right? I mean, we're not talking about like Skynet or anything about like, evil bots, Terminator style Schwarzenegger coming down. But in the end of the day, a lot of these scrapers and bots are out there, and they don't vanish, and they're there for good. Now, some of them are good bots, like the Google bot. It's a good bot. It's trying to understand what's going on in your site and retrieve results and organize everything so they can show the search results properly. But a lot of these bots are written by fraudsters, and they get a monthly subscription of their own in order for other people to be able to choose, all right, I want to click on Tyler's ads, God forbid, over and over and over again, 5 times a day on a specific campaign, on a specific keyword. This type of software is out there. It's extremely accessible, and it's bad stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a ton of bots out there that do things like that. And like you said, I've seen my own employees do it. They're trying to help a customer out, like my sales guys, and like, oh, let me go to the website. So they type Diesel laptops into the search bar, and then they click the top result, which is an ad. And I'm like, guys, what are you doing? You just paid $5 to go to my own website. Yeah. Like, can we not do that? But that's what I love about your software that you guys have developed. So you have all these tools that are tracking these things, and I know as a user, we can set thresholds, like you said. If you see the same IP, click the same ad X times within X minutes, hey, let's flag it. And we'll talk about what happens once you do these things. So it was really nice to be able to set kind of those thresholds to get a lot of the junk out. Like this is worthless stuff. If the same person clicks the same ad 3 times in a minute, there's probably something going on there besides an actual customer trying to go find something.
Now, Google do give you back money for what they consider as fraud. It's just that we cast a much wider net as to fraud. So if something is extremely blatant, such as someone's clicking on you, 10 times in a row, within the same minute or same hour, Google will most likely give you back that money. But what happens if someone's clicking on you, 6 times a day, every day, forever, right? Yeah. That, and that is kind of like, that isn't as obvious, and that isn't as blatant, and we see that and we block that. Whereas if you were to ask Google money back for those clicks, they'd say, no, that's normal user behavior to click on you 6 times a day, every day.
Yep.
It's not normal user behavior. Even if you're, shopping on Amazon, you don't shop, you hopefully not shopping that often and clicking on ads, right? So let's talk, if we're talking about, a local service provider, there's no way that someone needs to click on his ads 5 times a day, first of all, and definitely not for the entirety of his campaign.
So I think the other problem with using the Google side of it is yeah, that's great. Say Google catches it, but your ad budget's already gone, and you're not getting that money back till later, and now your ads aren't displaying the whole day. But you guys take a little bit different approach. So can you talk a little bit of what happens once you say, hey, we did notice some, whether it's malicious or unintentional fraud? Like what does your software do next to differentiate there?
So the entire advertising industry, the digital advertising industry, all of it is based on reactive cashback. So basically, bad stuff has happened on your campaign. You've then analyzed it a month later, and then you've given reports to the traffic platform, whether it's Google or Facebook or whoever it may be. And then historically they look at it and analyze, and they say, all right, well, for the $20,000 that you would like to be given back, we'll give you 2%, right? We have a completely different approach, as you mentioned. We basically are looking at that to, in real time, try and understand what's going on, okay, which is in our mind a much better approach, because then we're able to in real time also block the perpetrators, and that way you don't have to waste your entire budget, which, by the way, when you're not online with your ads, your competitors are. Whether if they are the ones that have committed the fraud or not, it doesn't matter. They are, and they're getting your customers. So it's kind of a double whammy. Your ad spend gets completely wasted. Your cash flow gets wasted. It's actually a triple whammy, because also you're losing your customers, so or potential customers. So the proactive approach is something that we completely believe in, and that is also why people just love the software. They didn't have to wait for maybe getting a refund
Yeah. So part of the interesting thing that happened when we started using your software and analyzing everything is, yeah, we were only displaying our ads to, North America. But when we finally started getting your reports back, we found out it was people overseas were still clicking on the ads that we were getting charged for. So we don't sell our tools in China, but yet I had clicks in China and these other countries. And that was part of what
Was Google giving you back money for those clicks?
we were getting very little money back from Google every month. So even when we kind of got your report and we got our pay-per-click guy to kind of look at it, we had to go back to like the Google rep and be like, what the heck? None of this makes any sense. We're blocking these overseas things in your settings, but obviously that's where the traffic's still coming from. So without your tool to kind of tell us to go look at something, which led us down that hole of getting the reports, and we had to manually submit it to Google. And it took a couple of weeks, but that's how we got our 40 grand back. So it wasn't like an automated thing that we were going to get back anyway. It was things we use your analytical tools for to actually go find that stuff.
Yeah, because we have all the data as well. So whatever isn't blocked in real time, you can still send it to the Google reps, and you've got hard proof that these are clicks that came from Vietnam or from China or from anywhere that you're not targeting. And then they have to give you the money back. Have to is a strong word. They don't have to do anything, but they often do.
Yeah, well, it worked out great for us because it was right when COVID happened. We got this nice $40,000 rebate back from Google, and we could have took the cash, but we just left it in there because we knew we were going to use the money again and whatnot. There's hard to get off the Google pay-per-click bandwagon. But can you talk a little bit about kind of the size or the number of websites or clicks that you guys monitor to kind of give everyone an idea of the scale of what you guys are doing over at Clickcease?
I don't even remember what it says on our site anymore. It used to be hundreds of thousands. Now it's in the millions. We've got tens of thousands of advertisers that we work with across the globe, different types of industries. I will say that the majority of these industries are, the ones that need it the most are the people that pay the most per click, right? Because that's, if you're an e-commerce site and you're paying like 10 cents per click and someone's clicking on your ads all day, well, let them have fun. It's fine. But if you're paying, anywhere between, $3 a click or even less, up to, life insurance, $100 a click, or DUI lawyers that pay, $120 a click. It's an incredible, it's huge. But again, the majority of these guys, it's the locksmith and the plumbers, HVAC repair, this type of, small, medium business, emergency services is completely, it just makes sense because the CPC is high. You can get off that Google bandwagon. It's lifeblood, basically. It's oxygen. So that's like the majority of the people that understand the value of fighting click fraud. And by the way, it's also normal. There's also the local element. So who your competitor is very often. And there's someone that is going to gain immediately from knocking you out of the Google result, right? So that's why service providers are normally the type of people that benefit from this type of service.
So one of the things I also enjoy getting from you guys on the emails, besides the annual reports and the monthly reports and all that stuff, but I get an email every once in a while that says, "Hey, there's another advertiser bidding against you." And it's amazing actually how many people bid against our own brand name now. But it's a feature called, I believe it's called Ad Spy. Can you just explain a little bit about how that works and how that helps people that are spending money online advertising?
First of all, it's amazing. We sit in a drawing board thinking about what will our users want. We talk to some users, some customers. We try to understand, what is beneficial, and then, full circle after it comes out and we roll it out and people are using it, we get a review or, someone like you saying that they love it. It just makes me want to jump for joy. So AdSpy is a tool that we developed that we track what's going on with your keyword. So the keywords that are most important to you, let's say for diesel laptops, what's your most important keyword? It's probably
our brand name and then our truck diagnostic tools or something of that nature. Yeah.
So if you were to run in truck diagnostics tool, you'll be able to see where you are positioned throughout the day at an hourly level versus your competition, which is something that Google used to give you a report similar to that, a position report. They don't give that to you anymore. And then you'll also be able to see what are the all the ads that are running against you in any city in the world, basically. Because again, if you wanted to understand, all right, what happens, what does someone see in California, or what does someone see in Singapore when they search for your keyword, if you are advertising in Singapore, then you'd have to start using VPNs, and you'd have to start switching proxies and all kind of stuff like that. So we give you all that intel, all that data, and it really, people find this data not interesting, but they do things with it. They're able to decide, all right, well, I need these are the people that are, these are the competitors that are really putting up a fight against me, and it kind of helps you understand what's going on pretty quickly. So
yeah, the part that surprised me now is like when I look at our brand name, like all this, because we're Diesel Laptops, so we have the name laptops in there. So now I got Dell bidding against me. I have Amazon. I got I got all these laptop manufacturers all of a sudden, and then the sites that sell laptops are bidding on the Diesel Laptops name. So we haven't quite figured out how to deal with that one yet.
Yeah, and if you just write Diesel, you're gonna be going against people that make jeans, right?
Yeah. Yes, we did have a whole trademark dispute with Diesel, the clothing manufacturer, there a while ago, but we worked that one out. So, I mean, you're the co-founder. I don't think we told everybody that when we started this thing, but you're the co-founder. So I'm always interested to talk to entrepreneurs and founders of companies. Can you give us the story? Like, where did this idea come from? You sitting around one day, driving to work, or in the shower? Where did this idea come from, and how did you guys get going? I think it's always good to learn these things, because people are always like, man, how did they build that company, or where did the idea come from? So I love hearing the stories about this kind of stuff.
So I've got my partner. His name is Yuval. He has a really good friend, which back in 2014 was a locksmith. And he was a locksmith in Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. And he calls us up, and he says, something's really weird with my campaign. I'm getting I'm spending so much money, but I'm not getting any calls. And for a locksmith not to get, for 20 people to visit his site and not get one call or one lead, that's pretty rare, because if someone's stuck outside in the Milwaukee snow, outside his house or outside his car, he's going to call that locksmith. So what's up? And so we started looking into his data, into the weblogs. We started understanding, whoa, this is super, super odd. We contact Google, nada. And then we understood that, it actually kind of makes sense for, a competitor to click on his ads. And by the way, we validated that was the case. It's the whole story within itself.
Yeah.
So we figured out that the best way to fight that wasn't in court, which almost each one of our customers asks us, well, what do I do? Can I, go to, can I take this to the police? Can we talk to the FBI? It's not the road that has ever worked. There's one case in court right now, or I think it was already been dismissed by a customer of ours, actually, that makes satellite phones, but it didn't go through. In any case. So we developed the software, it worked, and then we decided, okay, we're onto something here. We didn't think that would be a business with,
Wait, so hold on, before you get too far. So he's a locksmith, and what are you doing at this time? Are you a software developer, or do you guys have software experience, or
So my partner Yuval has software experience.
Okay.
But I have advertising experience, platform experience, marketing experience. My partner didn't know anything about Google Ads or the Google Ads API or anything about that stuff.
Yeah.
So we had to learn all that stuff and figure out, what would be the best way to fight this phenomenon.
So did you hire a developer? Did you guys just learn how to code and do it yourself, or what path did you take there?
No. Yuval developed all the code. I did the marketing, but that was already once we were able to prove that it was worthwhile to our locksmith friend. Within months, we already had, I think, 100 customers. Oh,
it was that quick? Like you guys built it and word of mouth, or how'd you get started with those first couple of customers?
So with locksmiths, it's actually interesting. Locksmiths till this day, we learn crazy things, but locksmiths till this day use chat groups, whether if it's WhatsApp or iChat or whatever it may be. They use groups because that's a lot of the ways that they transfer leads among each other.
Okay.
And just spread there like wildfire. We never expected that. But then again, once we put up the site and started, writing about it, talking about it, using Google Ads as well, it just spread like wildfire.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you're not the only company that does this. Is there? How do you deal with competition now in that space? Is it brutal out there? Or is it you guys have your own little niches carved out? What's the landscape look like in the your world?
It's just like any other brick and mortar or services business in the end. It's just that we sell software, and but again, the dynamics. People are people. So, a competitor is a competitor, and we deal with click fraud. We use Clickcease on our own campaigns. Right, so and we see everything, and we track also all our keywords, and we see exactly everything that's going on. It's amazing. It's amazing that it doesn't matter what the industry is, and again, we are basically protecting. I think I can't think of an industry that we don't have a customer for. Psychologists, okay, what psychologist would click on his competitor? But people are people. And it doesn't matter what it is. Business is business. It's wild, but that's why we see it as like there's kind of like I don't know, like Star Wars. So you got the dark side and you got the Force. So we see ourselves as the Force.
So you got going back to your business. You guys, it was the two of you. You started it. I'm assuming. Did you guys start adding employees as you were going through this? And I know you guys kind of had a big event that happened here about a year ago. So you kind of walk through what happened there.
Yeah. So we grew. We became 25 employees within I think 4 years, and then a company here from Israel as well that. Was doing something very similar, but more for enterprise customers, for the Coca-Colas of the world, right? Said, well, this is pretty complementary to what we're doing, and they decided to buy us out. So and now we work with them because we truly believe in what they're doing. Like it came from trying to help our friend out, and we decided that this is helping out masses of people, and once they bought us, we were even able to scale even faster.
Yeah. So was that tough then, going from the boss, the guy in charge, to like I got a boss now all of a sudden? Because I'm an entrepreneur, man. I own my company. I don't know if I could go work for somebody again. It'd be tough for me.
It's interesting. I've never really worked in. I've never been in this position. It's interesting. I used to work in the States. I worked, as a consultant, and I did all kind of different things, but this kind of, being acquired by another company was brand new. But the thing is that their values are completely aligned with ours, so it just seems natural. And boss or not boss, I'm still doing the same things that I was doing before, just trying to get as many people, access to software. So it's enjoyable. It's a learning curve. It's a learning path. It's everything. You're learning something new every day.
Yeah, I think the whole thing works out well if it's the right situation for you personally, and the right culture, and the right fit, and things are in alignment, and all that kind of stuff. So I have some stats. I looked at our 30-day stats with you guys, and let me preface this by saying, back in March of last year, pre-COVID lockdown, we were spending like $100,000 a month with Google because we just thought we had to do that. And then when the COVID lockdown happened, we cut it to zero. And we kind of only slowly unreleased it because we kind of found out we didn't need to spend all that money with Google Ads. We were getting the leads and the phone calls anyway. So we still spend a significant chunk with Google. It's 20, 30, 40 grand a month, whatever it is. But last month, our 30-day stats with you guys, and this is for the listeners and watchers. So we had 1,511 clicks saved, and that's probably a low number because the fraud would have kept continuing. And $2,400 saved in traffic is what you guys estimated for us. And again, I think it's probably on the low end because if the throttling wouldn't have stopped, those numbers obviously expand pretty high. So for us, it was about 10% of our traffic is what you guys stopped for us. And we do look at those reports every single month, and we keep trying to fine-tune things and narrow things down. And you have a great platform there. So I've been talking all along to people. I just saved $2,400 last month at least. I saved $40,000 that one time. Surely you guys must be very expensive if users want to integrate your service. Can you talk a little bit about the pricing model?
So one of our values is making the software accessible to as many people as possible. And part of that is that first payment, which we decided on purpose to keep pretty low. So our pricing is anywhere between $15 to $250, $300, $400, you know, for huge campaigns.
Yeah.
That's what we charge. Most of our customers pay us $50.
Yeah, we're definitely in that $50 range. So, and we spend a lot of money, obviously, you know, on those platforms. So, you know, you guys have an absolutely great service out there. I want to invite you on the show and, you know, speak highly of you guys every chance I get, because you have a great product, great service, great support. You guys have been there for us through every step of the way. And you didn't know who we were when we first started working with you guys, so that really says a lot. If people are interested, I you know, obviously they can go to Clickcease.com and sign up, but how hard is it for them to actually integrate their campaigns into your software? Is it a big technical thing, or is it just a couple clicks, or how's that go?
Yeah. It's probably like the hardest, longest 20 seconds of your life. We designed it to be extremely excruciating. It's in all seriousness, it's 3 clicks.
Yeah.
You basically give us your Google Ads ID and you're set.
Yeah. So Clickcease.com, and that's C's, right? CEASE.com.
Yeah,
That whole thing.
like ceasefire.
Yep,
because it really does feel. I was in the army. I was a sniper in a paratrooper unit, and when we thought of a name, we were like, all right, what does it feel like when you're getting clicked on? And like straight to the army. Yeah, ceasefire, man.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know, this was before we started, but you told me you were from South Africa. That's where you were born. Now you live in Israel. I learned that you were in the United States doing consulting. Now you're involved in the military. Like, sounds like you've been kind of all around the place in your young life.
Yeah. I was just born in South Africa, but I grew up in Israel. But I spent 5 years in Chicago and in Cincinnati and in New York, and I miss the States. I really do. I miss Costco.
There's no Costco's in Israel, I'm guessing then. So
no Costco's in Israel.
Yeah. Well, hey, next time you get to the States, love to meet you in person and all that. If people want to get a hold of you, is there some social media channels or other avenues? Where should they go?
Clickcease, anything that's Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, just write Clickcease and you'll get to us. Clickcease.com is our site. And I'm also going to organize a coupon for you. You can write it down in your notes. So you can add that in when you air this, and it will be 20% off for anybody that subscribes to Clickcease. And
I think there's a free trial. Is there a free trial that people get with you too?
There is a free trial. Yeah, for sure. There's a 7-day free trial, regardless, and anybody that subscribes that comes from your podcast will get 20% off.
Well, hey, I very much appreciate you coming on the show. I know there's a pretty big time difference between here on the East Coast of the United States and Israel, so I really appreciate taking some time out of your evening to spend a little bit talking with us. Hopefully our users got a little bit educated on everything. So with that, we're going to call it a wrap on this show. And remember, everybody, it's not just diagnostics, it's diagnostics done right. And part of that's managing your business. Go take a look at Clickcease. If you're spending any money online at all with advertising, they will save you some money, well worth the investment. So with that, sir, thank you very much. Have a good night. And I'm sure we'll be talking more in the future.
Amazing. Thank you.